Hey guys, Sri Lanka Sammy, Itaewon Sammy coming to you today from Jayala, Sri Lanka. Oh, what a beautiful day. It is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is straight up in the air. Today I'm going to talk to you about the situation in Sri Lanka. A lot of my friends in Korea and Canada are asking what's going on, what is happening, and how is it affecting me. I mean, like, look at this. There are no shadows on the street because the sun is straight up in the sky. That is such a beautiful thing. It's one of the things I love about living here. But today we are having a huge power cut. Right now we're in the middle of a 4-hour cut from 10 till 2 p.m. So there's no power right now. That's why I'm walking around outside, because it is damn hot in the house. And you watch a video later, they're installing solar panels in the house today. As you can see them right there. There are the panels right there. So they're installing solar panels, a huge system. It cost about a pretty penny to allow us to survive during the power cut. So this system will provide us about 12 hours of battery usage during a power outage for average usage. And then we will be running on solar power during the daytime, which means that we will not be reliant on the electrical system, and according to their estimates, we will cut our electrical usage by about 40 to 80%, depending on the weather. And look at today's weather. So anyway, a lot of people have been asking about the situation on the ground. And I did a video a couple days ago about the situation. I'm going to do a follow-up video today. It is, what is today's date? I am sorry, I don't know what today's date. Sorry about that. I think it's April 6th, 7th, or 8th. I can't remember. That's another thing about being retired. I don't really know what the date is, but it's Thursday. And it is a few days after the Emergency Act that occurred over the weekend, where the crisis occurred. So basically what happened is that on Friday, people were protesting because the power cuts had become more and more and more. There was no solution. The government had floated the currency, and it had spiked from 200 rupees to 300 rupees against the US dollar. Today it's 305. So where it has been 200 rupees for the last years, okay, prior to that it was much lower, but it has lost value. As of today, it is the worst performing currency in Southeast Asia. In 1 month it has gone up 100 rupees, which is not good for the locals. Inflation is 20%. Interest rates are going up. Food and fuel are scarce. People here don't have gas lines. They have to buy the gas bottles, and the poorer people have to do that. They can't afford the food because earning money is still earning money in rupees, and their rupee is not buying them enough. Now again, I've said this before, I'm earning money. My money is coming from overseas, so I'm buying rupees at a higher rate. So for now, inflation is not an issue. So it's not that big of a deal for me. But there, I can't go out because there's no fuel to fuel the cars. And I don't want to get stuck someplace if there's a curfew or if something happens. I can't get back home. If the banks close or something happens and I'm not home, I'm stuck. So that's why I'm staying close to home these days, within walking distance. So people are asking, how did this financial crisis come about? Well, how did the situation come out? Well, it's two things, politically and financially. I'm not going to get into the politics about it. That's neither here nor there. But financially, what occurred is that the government in power 10 years ago started a infrastructure program. So they diverted the money from military expenditure after the war to infrastructure. And at that time, Sri Lanka was somewhat prosperous via tourism and exports. Tourism is not a big part of the money, but it does help the local economy quite a bit, um, because it's a cash-based business. So when you go to a restaurant to buy food, when you hire a tuk-tuk, or pay for anything, as well as whenever you go to tourist locations, you're paying entrance fees. So that goes towards the government and the local economy. So when the government started spending money and taking out loans to build infrastructure projects like the island, Port City Island, which is a Dubai-style island, which is not making any money, and then an international airport where no one is going, which is losing money, they have to pay back those loans. So these properties are not generating revenue, but the loans are due. We're not talking small loans. We're talking about this year alone, $7 billion in loan interest payments. Not the loan, the interest payment on those loans. 15 years, 15 years worth of loans are coming due. And there's only 2.3 billion in international funds, in foreign funds, in the government. So they don't have the money to pay this. So then what happened is rating agencies lowered the credit score of the country, so barring any future loans. Then the government tried to stimulate the economy by cutting taxes, huge amounts of tax cuts, which then caused the revenue for the country to fall again. Then a triple blow of the Easter bombings that occurred in the luxury hotels, scaring away tourists in 2017, I think it was. 2018, I'm not sure, I can't remember when it was, but it was just before COVID. And just as we were about to recover from that terrorist attack and the stigma from that, COVID started. And that just decimated the economy. And just as we're recovering from that, the Ukraine war, because 40% of all of the tourists that are in the country are Ukrainian and Russian. Earlier in March, February, when I came to Sri Lanka with my brother was here, we went to a resort in the southern part, which is a tourist area, and it was all Russians and Ukrainians, like 95%. Everyone I spoke to, everyone I met was Russian or Ukrainian, and now they're gone. They're not coming, or the ones that are here don't have any money to spend anymore. So they're looking for, refugee status or help in staying. So that is how the situation came about. It was some issues with the policy of the government. Oh, one other thing is that because they couldn't afford importing goods, they didn't have the money to import it. To pay for the imports, they banned fertilizer imports, and the whole country had to go organic, which then decimated the crops. Here the guys are putting the panels up, taking the panels up on the roof. So, yeah, the old-fashioned way. So there was no money to pay for imported goods, so the government said, let's all go organic. That cut production in the tea plantations by 60%. Huge problem there. So now again, exports were down. The government about faced that. So basically, a bunch of financial errors, not taking the advice of economists, is the root cause of this situation. Now there are some political issues going on. There's claims of corruption, mismanagement, malfeasance, things like that, and that is what is causing the protests right now. The protests right now are based on the fact that the people are not happy with the alleged corruption. I haven't been here long enough to understand what's going on there, so I'm not going to comment on it. I'm a citizen, yes. But I never voted, and I don't know enough about the politics of it to make a statement, so I won't. But suffice it to say is that there has been issues with the way the country has been run. It's obvious. We're in a situation, and the people are tired because there is no solution in sight. And that is the main issue here, is how is this going to be fixed? What should have been done was there should have been a reorganization of the national utilities, the rail, the air, and the utility water and electricity. That should have been reorganized. Tax increases, austerity programs, and then higher interest rates, and then floating the dollar. So the cause of the problems, oh wow, it's a loud tuk-tuk. We'll just let that guy pass by. Wow! That is loud. That's a diesel truck. Anyway, sorry about that. So, basically, look at that thing. Oh, there's the boys. Can you see them? Taking the solar panel over the roof there. That's my parents' house, so just so you guys, they're taking a new solar power system. I have another video coming out about that. Check that out. So on the ground, like I've said before in my other video, the effects of this, because we live in the countryside, as you can hear, the house next door has a huge diesel generator. They're very wealthy, so they can afford that. But I researched this when I first came to Sri Lanka. Now I brought a whole bunch of solar powered battery packs and things like that for my parents to use, because I thought it was just a small short-term thing. But basically there are ships in port ready to offload propane gas for cooking, diesel gas for the buses and for the power plants, and petrol gas for the cars. But they can't offload because the government doesn't have money to pay them. And every day that they sit in port, there's an added fee on top of it. So India is giving money. India is sending fuel for free, not for free, but without, as a loan, so that we don't have to pay for it when the fuel arrives. But the government keeps propaganding, saying, this is going to end. How many times I've seen in the news, there will be no more power cuts, and then obviously there's power cuts. There will be no more fuel issues, and there's more fuel issues. Now, the other problem was that the rains haven't come. There's been a drought, so the hydroelectric dams in the south, there's two grids, the northern grid and the southern grid. The northern grid is fuel powered, coal powered, and the southern grid is hydroelectric powered, and they can't share electricity. So the southern grid is like 12 hours, 15 hours of power cuts because there's no water in the dams. But it is supposed to start raining, so April, May, this will resolve. So the government is planning on going to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, in April. Hopefully by May we'll have some resolution. June. By the end of this year, things will start to turn around. Tourism will come back starting in October. COVID is over. As long as we have fuel to power the hotels, the tourists will come. And that will help the economy. I feel strongly about that. I can only hope. I can only be positive. And that's the thing, is that we got to keep a positive mind. So I do want to thank everyone who is watching, who is commenting, my new viewers. Please subscribe, like. I do thank you for commenting. There are some people who are very angry, and I understand that. You're very angry. And I'm just trying to put a positive view on this, because I can get angry, but I personally believe it's not going to solve anything. I want to be progressive and positive, and peacefully protest. The government knows they're doing wrong, and there needs to be pressure on them to do that. And to do that, the people need to not be violent, because if they are, then they're just branded as extremists. So if we just sit on the side of the road and protest, that can't be ignored by the international media. So hopefully my fellow countrymen and my friends around the world can support us, and I hope everyone is well and safe. Sri Lanka Sammy, Itewan Sammy, wishing everyone a happy and safe Sri Lankan New Year coming soon. I'm out.